Many men don't realize they're being taken for granted until they feel emotionally exhausted. They keep giving their time, attention, and energy, hoping things will improve. But respect doesn't grow from endless effort. It grows from healthy boundaries and self-respect. In this video, you'll learn 6 simple ways to handle women who take you for granted without becoming bitter or playing games. Comment, "I am the prize," if you're ready to watch this video till the end and completely transform your life. Number 1. Notice the pattern. The hardest part about being taken for granted is that it rarely happens all at once. It begins with small moments that seem harmless. She cancels plans at the last minute and promises to make it up to you. She leaves your messages unanswered for hours or even days, but expects you to reply the moment she contacts you. She only reaches out when she needs advice, a favor, attention, or someone to make her feel better after a bad day. At first, you tell yourself she is busy, stressed, or going through something difficult because you want to believe the best about her. You convince yourself that if you stay patient and keep showing kindness, things will eventually change. Instead, the pattern becomes stronger. She becomes comfortable receiving your time without earning it. She becomes comfortable expecting your effort without appreciating it. Every time you ignore a clear sign because you hope tomorrow will be different, you teach yourself to accept less than you deserve. That is where many men become trapped. They are not trapped because they care too much. They are trapped because they refuse to accept what is right in front of them. Hope begins replacing reality, and every excuse becomes another reason to stay in a situation that slowly drains confidence. A man who refuses to see repeated behavior clearly starts building his decisions around promises instead of actions. He waits for words to become reality, while reality keeps showing him something completely different. If she values you only when it benefits her, that is information. If she disappears when your life becomes difficult, but expects you to stand beside her every time she struggles, that is information. If she enjoys your attention, but never shows the same level of interest in your life, your goals, your worries, or your victories, that is information too. Information is valuable only if you accept it instead of arguing with it. Many men become exhausted because they keep trying to explain away behavior that has already explained itself. They spend months looking for hidden meanings when the truth is sitting in plain sight. A woman who consistently values your presence will not make you question where you stand every single week. She will not leave you guessing whether you matter. She will not repeatedly expect your loyalty while giving very little in return. This does not mean every mistake defines a person, because everyone has bad days and everyone falls short sometimes. The difference is consistency. One mistake teaches very little. A repeated habit teaches everything. That is why paying attention to patterns changes your life. It removes confusion and replaces it with clarity. It helps you separate temporary problems from permanent habits. Once you begin looking at repeated actions instead of isolated moments, your decisions become calmer because they are based on facts instead of wishful thinking. You stop asking yourself why she keeps acting this way and start asking a far more important question. Why do you continue accepting it? That question is uncomfortable because it shifts responsibility back to you, but it also gives you back your power. You cannot control how she chooses to behave, but you always control what you tolerate. That is the difference between living with confidence and living with constant disappointment. Every man reaches a point where he has to decide whether he values temporary comfort or lasting self-respect. Temporary comfort tells you to ignore another excuse, accept another cancelled plan, and believe another promise. Self-respect tells you to watch quietly, think carefully, and let actions reveal the truth without forcing a different story. When you become calm enough to observe instead of reacting emotionally, you notice details you once ignored. You notice how quickly she responds when something benefits her. You notice how little effort she gives when the responsibility belongs to her. You notice that your kindness is expected rather than appreciated. These observations are not reasons to become bitter. They are reasons to become wiser. Wisdom grows when you stop arguing with reality and begin learning from it. Your life changes the moment you stop asking whether you are enough for her and start asking whether this relationship is healthy for you. That single change in thinking protects your confidence because it reminds you that your value is not decided by how much attention one woman chooses to give you. Your value comes from your character, your discipline, your purpose, and the standards you refuse to lower. When you finally accept the pattern without making excuses, you stop wasting energy trying to earn appreciation from someone who has grown comfortable taking your effort for granted. That clarity becomes the beginning of a completely different life, because every good decision starts with seeing the truth exactly as it is. Number 2. Set clear boundaries. Many men misunderstand boundaries because they think boundaries are about controlling another person, but they are not. A boundary is simply a decision about what you will accept and what you will no longer allow into your life. It begins with respecting yourself before asking anyone else to respect you. When she expects you to drop everything for her every single time she calls, you do not have to agree. When she changes plans repeatedly while expecting you to keep waiting, you do not have to rearrange your life. When she speaks to you with disrespect during moments of frustration, you do not have to pretend it is acceptable just to keep the peace. Every time you calmly protect your standards, you remind yourself that your life has value beyond someone else's approval. Many men struggle with this because they worry that saying no will push her away. They believe that endless availability proves loyalty, but constant availability without respect often creates the opposite result. When your time is always free, your effort begins to look ordinary. When your plans are always sacrificed for hers, your own priorities slowly disappear. Before long, your entire routine revolves around keeping one person satisfied while your own goals are placed on hold. That is not love, that is imbalance. A healthy relationship leaves room for both people to grow, achieve, and maintain their own lives. It never demands that one person carries all the responsibility while the other simply receives the benefits. This is why boundaries protect your confidence. They remind you that your time matters, your energy matters, and your purpose matters. When she asks for something that goes against your priorities, you can answer calmly without guilt. You do not need long explanations. You do not need arguments. You simply remain consistent. Consistency is what gives boundaries their strength. Many men speak about standards but abandon them the moment they fear losing a woman's attention. That teaches her that your words change whenever pressure appears. Strong character means your principles remain steady whether someone approves of them or not. If she respects you, healthy boundaries will not scare her away, because respectful people understand that everyone deserves personal limits. If she becomes angry every time you protect your own time, refuses to respect your decisions, or tries to make you feel guilty simply because you are living your own life, she is revealing how much she benefits from having no boundaries in the relationship. That information is valuable because it shows whether she respects you as a person or simply enjoys the convenience you provide. Never confuse guilt with kindness. They are not the same thing. Kindness comes from choice. Guilt comes from fear. When your decisions are driven by fear of losing someone, you slowly lose yourself instead. The strongest position any man can have is quiet confidence. He does not become loud or aggressive. He does not try to win every argument. He simply knows what matters, stays true to his priorities, and remains calm even when someone disagrees with him. That calmness creates respect because it shows emotional control. A man who cannot be pressured into abandoning his values becomes much harder to take for granted. His life has direction. His attention is earned instead of freely handed out at every opportunity. He understands that saying yes to everything often means saying no to his own growth, his own peace, and his own future. Boundaries protect all three. They allow you to invest your energy where it is appreciated, instead of constantly pouring it into situations that never improve. The surprising truth is that setting boundaries also helps you identify the right people more quickly. Someone who values you will adjust, communicate, and respect your limits. Someone who only values what you provide will become frustrated because they no longer receive unlimited access to your time and attention. That difference saves you months or even years of disappointment. Instead of wondering whether someone truly cares, you allow their response to your boundaries to answer the question. Once you understand this, your confidence no longer depends on pleasing everyone. It depends on living according to your values every single day. You become calmer because your happiness is no longer controlled by another person's changing behavior. You wake up focused on your purpose instead of waiting for someone else's attention to decide your mood. That is where real confidence grows. It grows quietly through self-respect, consistent actions, disciplined choices, and the courage to protect your own peace, even when someone else does not like your decision. That is the kind of strength no one can take away. Number 3. Match her effort. One of the biggest mistakes many men make is believing that giving more will eventually make her value them more. When she becomes distant, they increase their effort. They send longer messages, make more plans, offer more help, become more available, and keep proving themselves over and over again, hoping that one more kind gesture will finally change everything. Instead, they slowly teach her that she never has to invest the same energy because he will always carry the relationship by himself. This creates an unhealthy balance where one person keeps giving while the other keeps receiving. A relationship cannot stay healthy when only one person is building it. You are not supposed to do the work for two people. You are supposed to meet each other halfway. Matching her effort does not mean becoming cold or playing games. It means responding to reality with wisdom instead of emotion. If she makes time for you, you gladly make time for her. If she communicates openly, you communicate openly. If she shows appreciation, you appreciate her in return. But if she repeatedly gives the bare minimum while expecting the very best from you, matching her effort means you stop trying to fill the gap she refuses to fill herself. This is difficult because many men confuse endless giving with strength. They believe that if they simply hold on a little longer, things will return to the way they imagined. In reality, endless giving without healthy limits often produces the opposite result. People rarely value what they never have to earn. When your attention is always available, it becomes expected instead of appreciated. When your kindness never has limits, it becomes ordinary instead of meaningful. That is why matching effort protects your self-respect. It reminds you that your energy has value and should be shared with people who genuinely value your presence. Watch what happens when you stop doing everything yourself. Watch who starts making an effort and who quietly disappears. That tells you more than endless conversations ever will. If she only contacts you after long periods of silence because she suddenly needs something, you do not have to rush to answer as though nothing happened. If she leaves every plan for you to organize, you do not need to keep carrying the responsibility. If she never asks about your life, your work, your struggles, or your goals, notice that too. Interest cannot exist on one side forever. Relationships grow through shared investment, not one-sided sacrifice. Many men become exhausted because they are trying to keep alive something that the other person barely notices. They keep pouring time into a connection that survives only because they refuse to stop carrying it. The moment they step back, everything falls apart, and that reveals a painful truth. They were never building together, they were building alone. That discovery hurts, but it also sets you free, because you no longer waste years trying to force something that only exists through your effort. Your responsibility is not to convince someone to value you. Your responsibility is to value yourself enough to stop accepting less than genuine interest. Imagine how much energy you recover when you stop trying to earn attention that should come naturally. Imagine how much peace enters your life when you no longer wake up wondering why your messages are ignored, while hers become your highest priority. Your focus returns to your own growth, instead of waiting for signs that she finally appreciates you. That is where confidence quietly begins to grow. It grows every time you refuse to overextend yourself for someone who keeps giving excuses instead of effort. It grows every time you remember that love, respect, and commitment cannot be forced through endless generosity. They must be given freely by both people. The right woman will never need to be convinced to contribute because she understands that healthy relationships require two people moving in the same direction. Until then, protect your time, your attention, and your emotional energy. Give freely where it is valued, but never give endlessly where it is simply expected. The moment you stop measuring your worth by how much you can do for one woman, you begin building a life where your confidence comes from your own character instead of someone else's changing behavior. That change transforms not only your relationships, but every part of your life, because you stop living to earn approval and start living according to standards that bring peace, strength, and lasting self-respect. If you are ready to stop repeating the same painful patterns and start building relationships from a place of confidence, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint is linked in the comments, packed with timeless principles. That can change the way you think, act, and lead your life. And it is now also available as an audiobook, so you can listen while working out, taking a walk, or going about your day. And because the book is yours forever, you will always have access to this life-changing wisdom whenever you need it most. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint course for men is also launching in the coming weeks, so comment Blueprint below to get early access and take the first step toward becoming the kind of man who is respected because of his character, not because of how much he gives away. Number 4. Stay busy with your life. A man who builds his entire world around one woman slowly loses the very qualities that made him attractive in the first place. His goals begin to wait. His hobbies disappear. His friendships become less important. His health takes second place. His dreams are placed on hold because every spare moment is spent thinking about her, waiting for her message, hoping for her attention, or wondering why she suddenly seems distant. Without noticing it, he hands over control of his emotional state to someone else. A good day depends on whether she replies. A bad day begins when she does not. That is far too much power to place in another person's hands. Your life is meant to be much bigger than one relationship. It is meant to include purpose, discipline, meaningful work, strong friendships, good health, personal growth, and experiences that make you proud of the man you are becoming. When your life is full, you naturally become calmer because your happiness no longer depends on one person's behavior. You wake up with goals to achieve instead of waiting for someone else's attention to decide your mood. You finish your work because your future matters. You train your body because your health matters. You spend time with family and loyal friends because those relationships matter too. Every step you take towards building your own life strengthens your confidence from the inside. Many men believe they need more attention from a woman to become happier, but often they simply need more purpose. Purpose gives direction. Purpose gives discipline. Purpose gives you something meaningful to pursue every day. When your calendar is filled with valuable activities, you stop overthinking every message, every delay, and every small change in her behavior because your life continues moving forward regardless. This does not mean you stop caring about relationships. It means relationships become one healthy part of your life instead of becoming your entire identity. That difference changes everything. When she sees that your life has direction, she also sees that your attention is not something she can take for granted. You are not sitting around waiting for permission to enjoy your own life. You are already living it. There is a quiet confidence in a man who knows exactly where he is going. He does not seek constant validation because his satisfaction comes from keeping promises to himself. He becomes dependable because he is disciplined. He becomes peaceful because his emotions are no longer controlled by every change around him. Many men underestimate how attractive purpose really is because they spend too much time trying to become interesting in someone else's eyes instead of becoming proud of themselves. The truth is that a man who respects his own time naturally teaches others to respect it too. He protects his schedule. He keeps his commitments. He continues growing whether people support him or not. If she wants to be part of his life, she joins a life that already has meaning instead of becoming the meaning itself. That mindset protects you from desperation because desperation grows in empty spaces. When your days are filled with progress, learning, achievement, and meaningful relationships, there is very little room left for unhealthy obsession. You begin making decisions from confidence instead of loneliness. You stop accepting poor treatment simply because you are afraid of being alone. Solitude becomes far less frightening when your own company is filled with purpose. You discover that peace does not come from having someone's constant attention. Peace comes from knowing you are becoming a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined man every single day. Ironically, this also improves your relationships because you no longer place impossible expectations on one woman to provide all your happiness. You arrive with a full life instead of expecting her to fill an empty one. That creates healthier connections because both people have room to grow without carrying the impossible responsibility of completing each other. Never forget that the greatest investment you can make is the one you make in yourself. Skills can grow. Health can improve, confidence can be built, character can become stronger. Those things remain with you regardless of who stays or leaves. They become the foundation of a life that no one can easily shake. When you stay committed to your purpose, protect your time, and continue building the man you want to become, you stop living from one emotional high to the next. You begin living with quiet certainty, because your future is no longer built around waiting for someone else's approval. It is built around becoming a man who respects himself first, and that changes every relationship that follows. Number 5. Speak with confidence. Speaking with confidence does not mean raising your voice, trying to win every disagreement, or proving that you are right. It means saying exactly what you mean while remaining calm and respectful. Many men stay silent because they worry that speaking honestly will push her away. They hide disappointment, ignore behavior that bothers them, and convince themselves that keeping the peace is more important than protecting their self-respect. Over time, that silence becomes heavy. Small frustrations grow into resentment because nothing is ever addressed. She continues treating him the same way because she has never been shown where the line is. Clear communication changes that. If she repeatedly cancels plans, you calmly tell her that your time is valuable too. If she only contacts you when she needs something, you notice it and respond with honesty instead of pretending it does not matter. If she speaks to you without respect, you do not answer with insults or anger. You simply refuse to accept it. A man who stays calm while protecting his standards shows far greater strength than a man who loses control of his emotions. Confidence is quiet. It does not beg to be understood. It simply stands firm. You also learn that her response tells you everything you need to know. A woman who respects you listens, communicates, and takes responsibility when necessary. A woman who becomes defensive every time you express a reasonable concern, blames you for everything, or tries to make you feel guilty for having standards, is showing you how she handles accountability. Instead of arguing endlessly, pay attention. You cannot force someone to respect you through better explanations. Respect comes from consistent actions, including your own. Speak honestly, remain calm, and let your behavior match your words. Never make empty threats or promises you cannot keep. When your words and actions stay aligned, people know exactly where they stand with you. That kind of consistency creates trust, strengthens your character, and protects your peace, because you no longer carry around problems that should have been addressed long ago. Your voice matters, your thoughts matter, and your standards matter. Never give them away simply because you are afraid someone might leave. Number 6. Know when to walk away. One of the greatest lessons a man can learn is that not every relationship is meant to last. Sometimes the strongest decision is not holding on, but letting go with dignity. Walking away is never about revenge or proving a point. It is about refusing to remain where your effort is constantly ignored and your self-respect slowly disappears. Many men stay far longer than they should because they keep remembering who she was at the beginning instead of accepting who she continues to be today. They hold on to potential instead of reality. They keep believing that one more conversation, one more chance, or one more sacrifice will finally change everything. Meanwhile, months or even years pass, and nothing truly improves. There comes a moment when you must ask yourself an honest question. Is this relationship helping you become a better man, or is it slowly draining your confidence, your peace, and your purpose? The answer becomes clear when you stop listening only to promises and start looking at repeated behavior. If she consistently ignores your boundaries, dismisses your concerns, expects endless effort while giving very little in return, and shows no desire to change, staying longer rarely creates a different outcome. Choosing to leave does not mean you failed. Sometimes it means you finally choose yourself. It means you stop accepting treatment that keeps you trapped in disappointment. It means you believe your future deserves something healthier than constant uncertainty. Walking away also creates space for growth. The time and energy you once spent trying to fix someone else can now be invested in your own life, your health, your purpose, your family, your friendships, and the man you are becoming. That decision is rarely easy, but difficult choices often lead to stronger lives. Every time you choose self-respect over unhealthy attachment, you build confidence that cannot be taken away. You prove to yourself that your standards are real and that your peace is worth protecting. In the end, the greatest relationship you will ever build is the one you have with yourself. When that foundation is strong, you stop settling for less than mutual respect, genuine effort, and honest commitment. You no longer fear walking away because you understand that protecting your character is always more valuable than holding on to a relationship that asks you to abandon it. If you are ready to stop giving your best to people who take it for granted and start becoming the man who is respected because of his character, comment Blueprint, grab the Stoic Relationship. Blueprint linked in the comments, now also available as an audiobook, so you can absorb these timeless principles while training, taking a walk, or going through your day. And remember that once you own it, this life-changing knowledge is yours forever, because some of the most powerful lessons are rarely taught where most men are told to look. Like this video and subscribe to help more men discover these truths before they lose years repeating the same mistakes. And watch for the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course launching in the coming weeks, built from more than 2,000 years of timeless principles that have stood the test of time and are now ready to transform your life and relationships if you choose to apply them.